Well, 2012 was a remarkable year for UKIP supporters. We began the year on 4.5% in the opinion polls, which historically was pretty good for us. And it led on, at the end of the year, to 2 national Sunday newspapers, putting us on a remarkable 14%. So a year of amazing progress, a year that saw UKIP being regarded as a mainstream political party, and a year that saw all the key campaigning issues that we fought for years. Now we see all of them at the centre ground of the national debate in this country. So that is terrific news for all of us that have strived long and hard to get these points on the agenda. And I'm particularly pleased to think back to the by-elections, especially the ones we had in Corby, the one we had in Rotherham, and the one we had in Middlesbrough. And what it showed was that there is a media obsession that UKIP is taking Tory votes. Well, yes, it's true, we are taking Tory votes, but what those northern constituencies showed is that Labour votes are coming to UKIP in real numbers too. And that's why Ed Miliband gave that speech at the end of the year, saying that maybe Labour had made some mistakes on immigration. Well, as 2013 comes in, we're told there's another big speech coming. This time it's by David Cameron. He is going to make the big Europe speech. Well, of course, we had one of those before. Do you remember? He said he gave us a cast-iron guarantee that if he was Prime Minister, there'd be a referendum on the Lisbon Treaty. Well, what will he offer us in January? I don't know, but I guess renegotiation will be at the heart of it. And some sort of vague promise that perhaps if he wins the next general election, which looks pretty unlikely, there might be a referendum thereafter. I won't believe Cameron is serious in renegotiation unless he invokes Article 50 of the Lisbon Treaty, which is the only mechanism by which somebody that wanted to stay in the EU could actually begin a process to claw back some powers. I doubt he'll do that. I also very much doubt that he will unequivocally say that we'll have an in-out referendum before the next general election and that it'll be conducted on a free and fair basis. So I very much doubt any of those things will happen, though it's good news that at least UKIP is putting the whole question of a European referendum on the agenda. I think the event that will dominate our campaigning throughout 2013 will simply be this. On the 1st of January 2014, we open the doors unconditionally to 29 million people from Romania and Bulgaria. Nearly half the Bulgarian population are living below the poverty line, by which I don't mean some Cameron concept of relative poverty. He thinks if you haven't got 2 4x4s on the drive, you're poor. No, I mean real poverty. People struggling to feed the family. Frankly, if I was Bulgarian, I'd be packing my bags now. So we're not blaming these people for wanting to better their lives, but how can we, given those census figures, which showed that 4 million people from overseas have settled over the course of the last 10 years, and that's without the illegals. So the real figure is 5 million. What madness can it be that we're opening the door to unlimited numbers from those 2 countries? We believe it will lead to the next really big migratory wave into this country, and we don't think that's desirable. Firstly, on the simple numbers, and secondly, on the issue of fairness. How can it be right that somebody that comes here can automatically qualify for job seekers allowance, can get housing benefit incredibly quickly? Surely the benefit system is there for British families who in many cases for generations have paid into this, and the National Health Service is not there for Europe and the rest of the world. It should be there to look after our own people. But it's also about jobs. And at a time when we have 21% and rising youth unemployment in Britain, what is the sense of having yet more oversupply in the unskilled labour market in this country? Well, as far as we're concerned, there is none at all. We will make this a major campaigning issue, and we will point out that the Lib Dems, Conservatives and Labour Party can do nothing about this, all the while we're part of the European Union's single market. And we'll go on battling for no tax on the minimum wage, to give people in this country in low-paid jobs a real incentive to get off benefits. And we'll go on campaigning for our 4 million small businesses to have so many of the oppressive regulations on the environment, on health and safety at work, on employment, to have those lifted off their backs so that they can give youngsters a chance to get into the workplace in this country. We want this country to trade with Europe, to be friendly with Europe, to settle our relationship in a referendum, and then let's get on, not just running our own country, but being part of the world. What madness is it that we're not allowed to make our own trade deals with other parts of the world? And what we'd suggest is that the Commonwealth, where they speak English and where they like us, would be a very good place to start. In election terms, we have the English County Council elections coming up in May of this year. This will be the biggest ever contest of local elections by UKIP. We're getting ready, many of the candidates are already in place, and we'll keep our eyes out for any opportunities for parliamentary by-elections. We've established ourselves in 2012 as a party that doesn't just do well in European elections, but is becoming a major figure in the domestic scene, and I believe and intend that in 2013 we can take that further. So I wish you all a very happy campaigning 2013.